Pataye Namo Namaha. Jai Ganesha Gananatha Dayaniti Sakala Vigna Karajora Hamare. Jai Ganesha Gananatha Dayaniti Sakala Vigna Karajora
Namaste.
You're welcome.
Welcome to our weekly online Flowering Heart Satsang. Satsang means simply a gathering together of people on the path of awakening and transformation. It literally means community of truth or spiritual community. And it's a great way to connect and use the internet for a positive healing purpose. We come from different teachers, different belief systems, different spiritual and religious backgrounds from different parts of the world, different countries and different continents. What draws us together is that we are sharing together the journey of awakening and the flowering of the heart. So, welcome. Glad you're here tonight. It's important that we continue to reach out and connect. So much of the world sort of semi-shut down because of the pandemic, off and on and off and on, and so much of a sense of social distancing. It's just essential that we keep connecting deeply in heart, in spirit, and support one another in this journey. And during this very difficult time of transition and transformation on planet Earth, we're all being affected in various ways. And there's strength when we come together. We multiply one another's grace and spiritual depth when we do this. So welcome. Throughout the satsang, we share what we call the Flowering Heart Blessing, which is something the Divine gifted us with about 6 years ago. Though I suppose it wasn't new, it's probably ancient. The Flowering Heart Blessing is a transmission of divine grace, presence, and awakened consciousness to catalyze awakening and transformation in the flowering of the heart in the receiver. When the Divine gave it to us, we were instructed that this isn't yours. This is yours to give. It's from me. It's directly from Source, and that it belongs to no particular spiritual hierarchy, organization, master, saint, avatar, or anything like that. It comes directly from the Divine. And hence it really is not aligned with any single spiritual path except all of them that lead to the heart of the Divine. And so it truly will support you in whatever path you're on, and isn't going to work on you to, if you're a Buddhist, to become a Hindu, or if you're Jewish to become a Christian, or it's nothing like that. All the great mystical spiritual traditions have a mystical core, and the Flowering Heart Blessing energizes and quickens and enlivens that mystical seed at the center and causes it to begin to blossom from the inside out. So it comes directly from the Divine. There is no cost involved at all. It's always freely given. The Divine said this is grace. Grace means unearned, unpaid for, undeserved, just a pure gift of unconditional love. And when you receive it, which you are right now, if you wish to, you are now initiated to be able to share this blessing yourself. And anyone you share it with, at a distance, you can hold them in your heart, take an intention for them in prayer or in meditation, and just ask the Divine to pour into that person or person's life the Flowering Heart Blessing. The Divine knows exactly what they need. It doesn't require you to visualize anything or put anything into words. Just invite the Divine to flow the Flowering Heart Blessing through you to that person. If they're in your physical presence with their consent, you could lightly lay your hands on top of their head and do the same thing. Just invite the Divine to give them the Flowering Heart Blessing, and then just get out of the way, and the Divine does all the rest. If you don't have a blessing group or circle in your local community, we would encourage you to start one. If you feel connected enough with it that you can articulate it for yourself, wonderful. if you're not so sure, you can use our 36-minute video off floweringheart.org website. There are several links to it right there on the home page. And you can download it, or you can just hit play. Put a laptop there, or plug it into your TV set and hit play. And over the next 36 minutes, there's a very clear explanation of blessing, the transference of awakened consciousness, what it does, how it works, and there's a guided meditation for initiation, which is nice. So I encourage you to use it. And all you need is one other person, and begin to share the blessing with each other. And you'll be amazed if you do that regularly, how it will deepen your journey and process. So, I don't think there's any
announcements. Click like.
Oh,
so
yeah.
We can see you.
Yeah. We really encourage everyone, unless you leave a comment with your name on it, to click the thumbs up symbol and give us a like or a love, because we go in after the satsang and we look at the list of people who visited, and sometimes it's people that leave no comment openly, but some of you we've known for years, and some of you we don't see that often, and it's great when you leave your name that way. So thanks for that. We open it at this point to questions and answers about the spiritual journey. It could be about just something you're puzzling over, about awakening or divine union, or life after death, or reincarnation, or meditation, or prayer, anything related to the spiritual journey. If it's related to your practice and what you're experiencing, and something you'd like more clarity, more light shined on a particular area, then please ask away. It does two things. It helps everybody, because even though all of us are on a unique path, they parallel one another. And we go through over the years, as time goes on, we go through many of the same experiences, challenges, obstacles, insights, breakthroughs. And so it strengthens the whole community that's here tonight, but also it moves the divine to give us inspiration, to shine light on the answers and to your questions, things that wouldn't come through us or to the satsang unless you ask. I mean, we could sit here in silence for an hour, and that would be great. I enjoy that, but it's your questions that stimulate the most interesting and powerful satsangs that we have. Then later on, and we are sending the Flowering Heart Blessing right now. So you're soaking in it. So go ahead and just drink in the presence, drink in the blessing, and let yourself be filled, recharged, transformed. Also, please, we invite you to join us in sending the blessing to all the other participants. When you open yourself to do that, and you hold the space and send blessing to everyone else, the divine blesses you even more than if you're just receiving for yourself. Then later on, we'll be doing some very focused, powerful blessings by intention for the personal needs and challenges that you've brought with you here tonight, and we'll conclude with the open eye light meditation at the end. So, don't wait, type in your questions. And we'll give it a few minutes. It would really be great if, when you first land in this room, or when you're on your way to this satsang, if you would ask the divine to inspire you, to give you something that you might ask or share with the group. And you'll be blessed if you do it. We'll all be blessed, but you especially. So. Don't all speak at once.
Do you have any insights you want to share?
Oh, I have a lifetime of insights to share, but it's much nicer to respond to a direct question. This has been a really tough time recently for a lot of people around the world. It's a very, very intense time. And humanity is going through a shift. As with, just speaking from the point of view of nature and biology, a species must continue to adapt and change in response to the changes that are going on in the environment to thrive. And we have changes going on every level, but certainly when it comes to climate change, I don't hear anybody out there denying that there's climate change going on right now.
I do. It's a little insane.
Okay, well, you show me later where you see that, because people used to be screaming that. But, you know, with California on fire and is it Iceland or Greenland, the Arctic shelf melting, Greenland, the Arctic shelf like melting at an incredible rate. The heat is this summer breaking records. They were building snowmen in Brazil. Of course, it is winter in South America, but we're talking about the tropics. We're talking about near the equator. There's just changes in pattern. The oceans are warmer. So, for instance, we live on the Gulf of Mexico. It's perfectly natural. We have a thing every year called hurricane season. But the storms are getting more powerful.
And developing faster. And that's because, I'm not a meteorologist, I'm not going to pretend to be, but a hurricane is a rising spiral of heat. And so when the ocean is very warm, it feeds that spiraling, rising column of air. It makes it spin faster and more powerfully and last longer, develop quicker. So that's straight a result of a higher sea temperature that we're experiencing this year. There are other things going on, and I've lived in Florida now for almost 60 years. Almost. And having I've been all over the world, but I've had my headquarters, my home has been on the Gulf Coast of Florida here in Clearwater. I've seen many red tides come and go. I mean, we have it pretty much every year. It's always around. There's never been one like this. Yeah, it's been horrible.
And it's still ongoing, and it kills a lot of fish, but unfortunately it also kills sea turtles and bottlenose dolphins and other living things. Manatees, and when a beach is being hit by it gives off this toxic fumes, and when it hits you, you choke and you cough, and you can't stay around it. So
it was almost gone around here until this last storm came through, and it keeps moving it back inland. So we've been praying for the dolphins and all the fish and the turtles, and we've got all of these sea turtle nests all over the beach, up and down the beaches.
And they're getting ready to hatch.
Yeah,
we'd like them to have.
We're really praying that the
sea turtles are pretty challenged to begin with. Only a small number of them make it to adulthood, and they don't need this.
Right.
They're already endangered species. So that's going on.
Lots of prayers all around.
But what we've seen is, besides the ongoing sort of climate of fear in the human psychological dimension because of, climate change, political change, and war, but the pandemic has had a huge effect on all of us. I mean, we feel it. It's affected the economy, but it's affected our psychology, our sense of well-being, and there's been a lot of fear and raging over what to do about it, and all of that. You don't need me to tell you, but that persistence of fear has created a lot of frustration. That and some of the social limitations that the pandemic has imposed, or ruling authorities have imposed, however you want to look at it, that fear has caused frustration, which we've been seeing erupt in a lot of people as anger.
And driving rage.
Yeah, we see it anytime we drive now. It's people doing just crazy, unnecessary, dangerous things. So we're trying to be the change. And we are being the change because we're not reacting to that rage or anger. We're responding to it by sending blessing and peace and love and releasing any judgment that might, because we're human, sometimes when we see someone do something that's off the wall, that's just dangerous and unnecessary, the first thing that happens is the mind will come in and judge them. But so if that happens, experience that charge, release it, and return to blessing and love, because truly that is the answer. We can't fight evil with evil. We don't overcome hate with hate. And there's a lot of that going on in the world today. A lot of people that are very convinced of the righteousness of their cause and their position, whether it's political or whether it's something else. And they feel they have a righteous cause, and so they enter into this it's kind of a conflict.
I'm right, you're wrong.
Well, I'm right, you're wrong, but I'm willing to fight you about it. I'm willing to demonize you, you know? It's like, you're horrible. You're this, you're that, and it's amazing the crazy ideas people have come up with to demonize the other side, when really there's the human side. And the challenge is to stay human and to really cooperate in harmony and peace, instead of continuing in competition, conflict, and violence, which is all over the place. So it's been very profound this week. You know, I have a friend in California that I was concerned about. I won't mention any names, but someone who has been dear to me for years, a good friend to both of us, Suzanne and me, and this person lives not far from Lake Tahoe, and the biggest fire in California history has been closing in that area. And so I was concerned, you know, so I texted this individual and said, you know, are you okay? How are you doing? And they texted me back and said, well, it's hard to breathe here because there's so much smoke in the air. And this person lives in the country, away from civilization, out a dirt road on top of a mountain, you know, in the Sierras, and said the sun is being blocked out by the smoke, and I'm having to find new ways every day how to live in hell. And I thought, wow. And they said that they're so like imposing on my rights as a human being that if they come after me, you know, and try to control what I do with my own body and my own health care, I'm going to leave my body. Now, this is a person I never would have expected to feel. So, and this is a very spiritual person who's feeling like they're living in hell. Well, the place around them's completely on fire.
Right.
It's hard to breathe, and there are all these like severe restrictions being imposed, you know, by the powers that be. And these are people that specifically spent years to create a lifestyle off the grid where they generate their own water, their own electricity. It's actually amazing what they've done. And but even there, off the grid, up in the mountains, with their own electricity and water, this amazing lifestyle and straw bale dwellings on their land, they're going so impacted by what's going on planet Earth. So
I think we too at this time need to go back to the basics of the flowering of the heart and doing the inner work, and all stay really present and remember that the mind is and ego and the separate self are all about confusion, chaos, control, power, being right, all of these things. So it's even more important now to stay diligent, to be in a heart space and look around, and when we see the mind start to do that little funky game, go back into the heart. Like Michael said, the first thing to do is to judge people when they're acting crazy. But then that's just keeping us in a state of disunity. It's keeping us in a state of duality and separation. And when we go into the heart and see things through the eyes of compassion and send prayers to a situation and hold that space, and I can hardly even listen to the news anymore because it's been so divisive, and everything is surrounding about fear and crisis and chaos, and that's a number one sign to me that it's of the mind and the ego. And going back inside the heart and listening to that little voice inside that gets louder and louder the more you listen to it, listening to that voice that's radiating peace, love, compassion, reaching out to others. When we're in that state of consciousness and not buying into all of the fear going on around us, the more of us that can hold that space on a daily basis, things will start to shift. I'm about ready just not to listen to any more news because I can't believe any of it.
Okay, let's not talk.
Okay.
Let's get off.
So I'm just saying right now more than ever, I feel it's really important for us to stay in a heart space and continue the inner work.
Anger is, interestingly enough, a cover for fear. People are angry because they're afraid. And it's anger's a sort of self-righteous distraction from what you're afraid of. But the answer to fear and all these things we've been talking about is love. And Scripture says perfect love drives out, casts out fear. It dissolves it. It's like you're either in fear or you're in love. So the fix for this world, for all of the fear and the consequent anger, is love. It's the flowering of the heart. And that's why we're about this work. That's why you're on the path you're on. And you're pursuing awakening and the flowering of your heart at a time when the world needs it more than ever in human history. Yeah. And so that's why you're here. And no, I know it isn't easy. Yeah. And there's a lot going on, and not just in a general way, but a lot of us personally have been experiencing challenges that it just seems like too much, you know. I remember it was about a month or so ago, I was praying, and Gaia began to speak to me. And I was praying for, I don't remember what at the time, some thing of nature. I don't know if it was to stop a hurricane or the red tide, probably. And I heard, totally unexpected, because I don't just, carry on conversations with Mother Earth. But Gaia just came in very powerfully into my meditation and said, Michael, you need to understand. Humanity is so out of harmony with me that there's a whole lineup of things that are going to be unfolding to convince humanity that they need to renegotiate their
existence,
their relationship with me, to bring it back into harmony. And so you may be able to pray for a certain thing to stop or to be protected from it, but there are going to be this unfolding of all, and it was unsettling. But at the same time, I felt nature's gentleness and love for me. And I think for us who are on the path of truth and awakening, I think that nature is well aware of that. But we're still a minority. And so all these things are happening. And we need to have tremendous patience and perseverance, acceptance, and keep loving. Whatever arises, love that. Love it and send peace to it. And it may not visibly change in the outer world like that. Suzanne said, yes, they are beginning to shift, but so far it's
there are more and more people shifting and awakening. That's true, and a lot of great things happening. But the whole global scene of humanity is, pretty intense. So we need to keep loving humanity and sending out peace. And though we may not see the outer world shift instantly, it can happen. I believe in quantum shifts. I believe in that. But what will begin to shift dramatically is the relationship that you are having with the outer world. When you accept what is, instead of raging over it. I mean, if you need to rage and then let it go. Because acceptance is the place from which flows peace and love. So it's a crummy situation, accept it. And then send peace and love to it. And the outer world becomes a reflection of the inner world. So what you're now embodying within is acceptance and peace and love. At least in your world, you're going to begin to see that reflected in powerful ways in your immediate sphere. And in the bigger picture, that's sending ripples out into the collective and out to infinity. But it will definitely change your relationship. So that conversation I had with Mother Nature, while on one level it was disturbing, on another level it explains so much of things that I had encountered, because I love nature. And I've always had this amazing relationship. And over the last year, I got bitten by a couple of wild animals, a raccoon and a poisonous snake. And it just blew me away. And it's like, why is this happening? Because I'm a Taoist. Taoists are all about the natural way and harmony with nature. And I'm a Franciscan. And St. Francis, the patron saint of creatures, of animals, and an amazing relationship I've always had with nature. And when I had these things happening over the last year, I had this floating question of, what's wrong? Am I doing something wrong? And it wasn't personal. And so Gaia gave me an understanding and let me know that there's this peace between us. And so we go on being part of the change, picking up trash at the beach and loving the unlovable. Try it, it works, I'm telling you. So, Tay Bill said, well said, Suzanne. Yep. Okay, I'm not seeing any questions.
Yeah.
I think we raised them.
Yeah, right. I just, a member of our local community here said, I can't just sit around and do nothing. I can't just meditate all this way. And it feels to me like the only thing that I can do is deepen in my resolve to send prayers and meditate. I don't think that we can underestimate the power one person can have. Well, and if we have a bunch of us doing it together, it's...
Well, as our friend Taz Rashid said, prayer's not enough. And the member of the community that said, I can't just sit around and meditate, he's an activist and has been an activist for years. And what he's saying is, we need to be the change.
Right.
So, I mean, we can pray that people stop littering. We can also go out and pick up litter, right? So.
But while we're doing it, we're having a powerful intention, that people, their consciousness increases and their awareness of the environment around them. Because so many people today, we found an old umbrella that was all mangled up that had barnacles on it. It
had been underwater a long time.
It had been there a while. Michael's carrying this other bag of garbage and that had all been in there a while. They had barnacles on it. Must have been from the storm pushing everything up. But I'm dragging this straggly umbrella behind me. And it gets people's attention, people don't see other people doing stuff like that. They're just having a day at the beach. It doesn't get them thinking about the environment or what's on the ground. And so every little piece that we do, just silently and quietly in our own little universes, has a ripple effect more than we know.
Yep.
Yeah. Who knows? It might be motivating them to do something that bothers them in their communities when they go back home. We get a lot of tourists.
But no matter what it looks like, all is well. And all will be well because the universe is benevolent. And the being that generated this universe, that penetrates every bit of it, is all-powerful and pure love. And sometimes it's hard to see because we go through so much. It's like a parent taking training wheels off the bicycle the first time. And you cringe, but the child has to grow and has to be allowed to stumble. And then you stumble and you fall and you go, why'd you let me do that? Why'd you let that happen to me? Well, because we're all in a process of growth and transformation. There's some big lessons happening. And it's all going to, in the end, it really is going to be okay. And you'll probably be able to look back at this whole process unfolding this present lifetime and go, aha, now I see. And we're not always supposed to see it in the moment. We're supposed to embrace it in faith and trust and patience. And you'll see. I promise. I have it on very good authority. Okay, well.
Okay, so move on.
I guess we shall.
Okay.
So why doesn't everyone close their eyes? And dive into the sacred space of your spiritual heart, that inner space that is the center of your being, where the divine spark dwells within you. The Paramatma, the God within, the Christ within. And invoke the presence within yourself. You don't need to use a lot of words or specific requests. You could just say, help me. Because this presence that is the center of your being, that is the source of your existence, already knows exactly what you need. Better than you and I know. If we would just trust and throw ourselves open to receive the grace of the divine presence. This is the Flowering Heart Blessing. Just throw yourself open, especially the places that are hurting and dark. The divine can already see it. You don't need to explain it. Just receive the light of the presence. imagine or visualize all of us sitting in a circle together, a blessing circle. And with your eyes closed, lift up your hands and open your palms facing forward, and let us invite the Divine Presence to pour the flowering heart blessing through all of us to each other tonight. If you have a particular problem or a burden for a particular person, put that in the middle of the circle as we take a powerful intention for the Divine to help you, to help them, to help that situation. I'd like to ask for a special blessing for Yekaterina and her family. The Divine knows. For the victims of Hurricane Ida. Anything else you want to throw in? Go for it. And of course, whether you can be heard right now on the webcast, you can go ahead and put any person or situation in the middle of the circle, and I promise you the Divine sees it, and we all take a strong intent together with you for divine grace to flood and help that situation. I'd like to also offer strong prayers and intentions for the people of Afghanistan. All of them. I think especially those who are now refugees, strangers in strange lands, and for those who remain behind and are afraid. Now we'd like to invite you to just relax, rest your palms in your lap or on your thighs with your palms opened, turned upward. And when you're ready, open your eyes and begin to make direct eye contact with Suzanne and or me, with one of us, at least one of our eyes. Keep connecting. And we begin the light meditation. In this meditation, the Divine overshadows us powerfully and begins to pour oceans of grace and light and love through us to you. As you just keep making eye contact, that's all you need to do. That life, that light floods through every pore of our being, but especially through our eyes, which are the doorways of the soul. keep meditating as long as it feels good to you, or lie down nearby in Shavasana. That is, to lie on your back with your eyes closed, your arms loosely at your sides with your palms open, turned upward, and just let yourself dissolve in gratitude in the presence. We love you all very much.
Much love, light, and blessings until we connect again.
Until then, the divine in us sees the divine